on a live episode of Collider Movie Talk. I can't see the screen, so I don't know what's happening. Bond 25, it dropped their first trailer here. We got a new Planet of the Apes coming soon from Fox or Disney. And what is the best film of 2019? Going to talk about it all if my throat holds up on a new live episode of Collider Movie Talk. All right, hey everyone, welcome. I can't see myself on the screen, so I don't know if I'm on camera. So let's have a conversation. It's live Collider Movie Talk on a Wednesday, rainy morning here in Los Angeles, California. And don't adjust. You said Perry Nemiroff did not gain weight. It's me, John Rocha, in place of her. She's out there doing great stuff. Can't talk about it yet. We'll probably talk about it soon, though, that's for sure. And joining me today on a lovely Wednesday morning, I couldn't be more excited. This is going to be one of those like rodeo rides you have because two incredible guests are joining me to talk about Bond 25, Planet of the Apes, and some movies from the National Board Review. Right there, the beautiful, lovely lady, Grae Drake. How are you? Miss Movie Phone.
I popped my collar, look out.
And the guy over there just finished fixing my water heater and dragging it to haul an 18-wheeler over there. Mark Ellis, what is this Virginia look you got going on?
I'm going to have to order another part to get that fixed. And that part's probably not going to get in until after the holidays. So I'm not sure what you want to do. I still get paid by the hour.
Every time I come close to accepting Mark Ellis has gone full LA, he pulls out the Virginia stuff and I go back home with him.
I feel very comfortable. I now that I see myself on camera, I kind of look like Billy Madison in his first day back at high school. Where you just think, okay, it's time to kick some ass. Not really. I've never been a jean jacket guy, not since I was like in second grade, rocking the Oshkosh Bagosh large.
Good choice.
Yeah,
that was a good choice.
No, you guys, I rolled the sleeves up and everything. We're going with it, okay? I don't care if the guy that we're talking about wears a tuxedo and drinks martinis at exotic locations. I am happy in a jean jacket with a cold Coors Light in most parts of Florida.
There you go.
Yeah, and like for the whole show, if you basically have trouble ever hearing Mark over the sound of the banjo music playing, don't have to adjust your set, guys.
That's true. That's a very good point. Whenever I think of Mark Ellis, I think of banjo music for so many reasons.
Aren't Grae and I the best team
Yes.
that's ever happened on Movie Talk?
I don't like to choose my children, so I will between my children. So I will say I'm excited for this episode for sure.
Woo!
Maybe more than I've been excited for any episode this week. So that's what I'll say. Just a little bit, though. A little bit.
More Grae than me, but I'll take the I'll take the credit.
Of course. But let's jump into this. You mentioned the nice man's tuxedo. That's James Bond. The new trailer, No Time to Die, dropped this morning from Cary Fukunaga. He is directing, taking over from Danny Boyle. There were creative differences. Whatever you want to make of that, you can. But this was fantastic, in my personal opinion. A lot of action, a lot of characters coming back. Léa Seydoux coming back. We got Jeffrey Wright coming back onto the franchise. Christoph Waltz coming back as Blofeld, Ray Fiennes, Ben Whishaw, Naomi Harris. But we got the new villain that Rami Malek is playing. We also have Lashana Lynch looking badass up in this thing. Ana de Armas looking sexy AF. And then you got yourself a little Aston Martin action with the machine gun coming out of the headlights, a little Goldfinger reference. So much about this was all over the place. But I know Spectre wasn't, and all over the place in a good way, I know Spectre wasn't the most well-received amongst the film fans and Bond fans, but this feels like it's going back to what they enjoyed about Casino Royale and Skyfall. Grae, what were your thoughts about this trailer?
I noticed how many times they mentioned secrets
in
this one, and I was like, uh-oh, James Bond getting gossipy on his 25th anniversary. Actually, it's more than the 25th anniversary. It's Wednesday. It's early still. Yeah, and so I wondered, I was like, is Léa Seydoux's secret that she has been hanging on to a Phantom of the Opera mask for so long? And what does that mean? Because it was kind of stylish.
It means that she stole Vicky Vale's mask that the Joker gave her in 1989's Batman.
Oh
so
my
we're just
God.
going to revisit this every 30 years, and that's a pretty major secret. I mean, I see this trailer, and I'm pumped for the return of Jimmy Bond.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: is that I was not a Spectre fan. Like, I love Spectre. I'm like, what did we just do?
Not much.
No, we're coming off of Skyfall, which was really cool. But I think that they're going back to a Skyfall feel where Skyfall felt like there were a lot of secrets revealed about what's going on with Bond. I think we're going back to that formula. Yeah. The question I have is how much of because this is Daniel Craig's last turn as James Bond. So how much of that, are we wrapping things up? Are we setting up more adventures? Is this going to be like, is at the end of this movie, does he Just retire to a golf course in Jacksonville? Like
No
what is the
possible
end
way.
of Bond?
No possible way.
In Jacksonville or in anywhere?
You're going to show up wearing a jean jacket to play golf?
Right.
I don't. Hey, is there a better disguise for James Bond
That's
than a
fair
jean
points.
jacket?
I just
Fair
want to
points.
be clear that if Daniel Craig showed up to my house in a jean jacket and a hat, I would let him fix whatever he wanted.
That's a fair point.
So-
I would too, and I'm not even. You know,
Fair.
I got no shame saying that.
I think this one looked really cool. It's really. It took me actually 2 watches to really take it all in because I think the second half of that trailer is so packed with stuff.
Yeah.
But I loved that scene. She's like, "I'll shoot you in the knee, the good one."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn, that's mean."
They gave her some good lines. You can tell those two are going to have some like fun banter back and forth. And why not? I mean, Phoebe Waller-Bridge coming onto this property, she made it very clear. She's like, I still think Bond is relevant. And yes, he can still be promiscuous with women. It's not a big deal. But we just need to make sure the female characters are treated fairly. And so you see this coming in. You've had, of course, Moneypenny has given as good as she's got. Naomi Harris is a fantastic actress. You've had Lea Seydoux kind of being, from Spectre, kind of being the love interest for, and of course, the age difference. People make a big deal about that as well. But now you have someone like Lashana Lynch coming on. I think that is the Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I believe, addition to the script as well, is that kind of back and forth that's equal. And no one giving a quarter or an inch to each other, still being badass in their separate ways. And I wonder if this is the handoff to Lashana Lynch or not. It's interesting.
Ooh,
to consider.
God, that would be so cool.
You need a new 007. Who
Yeah.
better to step in there? The other thing I
that's
liked
rumor.
about this trailer is that we get to visit Christoph Waltz in jail. So it's kind of like he's like the Hannibal Lecter. You know, where it's like, we're taking cues from you, or like the like horrible bosses, like, hey, we need some help with this new one. And then you have Rami Malek, which is just like the perfect looking Bond villain because, to quote the great Rowan Atkinson, he's a villain with a physical defect.
Yeah. Well, we've seen this before, though, haven't we? With Robert Carlyle. Remember his issues in The World Is Not Enough. We've seen this before with other things, like in even League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Richard Roxburgh's character had to wear the mask and all this kind of stuff. So it concerns me a little bit, the mask. It makes me think like, are you hitting it the nail too hard on the head?
We're
like
all wearing masks,
exactly,
John.
that whole thing.
Why don't you
The
take
idea of
yours
mystery,
Shut up and go get a screwdriver.
I got a mask for you, son. I got a mask for you. I shouldn't do that. That hurts my
I'm
throat.
hauling masks to south of the border in South Carolina. Buy your fireworks and switch combs.
Craig's departure from the Bond franchise, he said, this is it for him. So this is a big send-off for him. And contrary to the way he talked about Spectre, where he said it was like crawling through broken glass, he said this has been one of the most wonderful experiences and best experience I've ever had. This was from a video of a farewell speech he gave on set. You've all done the most amazing job. I could not be more proud to work with every single one of you on this production.
That's
so
nice.
You get the feeling, just from the trailer itself, and then this attached to it, you get the feeling that they feel like they corrected what was the problem around Spectre.
Yeah, which was they didn't think before they spoke.
Yes,
And they just
yes.
said stuff, and then everybody was like, what? And they're like,
And then the movie came out, and the fans were like, ugh.
Right.
So like a combo of the two wasn't a good thing.
You know, the best thing I think to come out of Spectre for me, because I wasn't crazy about it, was that I remember asking Christoph Waltz what kind of umbrella organization Spectre was and what kind of businesses fell under that umbrella. And I was like, sort of taking a chance, because Christoph Waltz is like he's not a scary dude in person. He's just like, he's sort of intimidating. And he thought about it, and he just goes, oh yeah, the ice cream parlor.
That's what I would expect. It's like what Robert Wagner did for Dr. Evil. It's like, look, you have to have some sort of legit corporations to hide the fact that you are an evil entity. So maybe you have a coffee bean there. Maybe Spectre runs a bunch of Chili's 2s that I've been to in airports.
That checks out. Yeah.
There's what are Chili 2s?
Chili 2?
They're
Chili's
faster
2?
Chili's.
Shut
You
up.
go to an airport, it's the Chili's logo, TOO, as in Teen Wolf 2. So it's Chili's 2 because it's like a slightly smaller one that's at an airport. And the reason why, Grae, I think that this might factor into James Bond is because the waiters and waitresses wear masks.
This is the kind of comedy you can get from Stepfather Dog, Stepfather Dog, Stepfather, whatever the hell it is that Mark Ellis does.
This is all true.
This is all,
Available
really?
now on YouTube.
I feel like it's not.
Doesn't matter what restaurant I go to now, I want my server to be wearing a mask. If I'm at Arby's at the drive-thru, I'm like, can you put this on and then hand me my curly fries, please?
I have your awesome blossom right
There you
here.
go. Oh, very
Put
good.
it inside your mouth. Yeah, any Phantom of the
there you
Opera
go.
fans? Nobody?
I like it.
Hello?
I like it.
Christine!
Oh, there it was.
Gerard Butler, for some reason, in that movie. Listen, what I always find.
I'm a bigger fan of the Robert Englund.
Oh God,
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, but that's a
In
remake of the
1989.
Lon Chaney version. It's not the music.
Michael Crawford is the Phantom of the Opera live. Damn it.
My concern here is are they going to get this right to send him off correctly and hand the baton over, or is Lashana Lynch like, what do they call that? Not a MacGuffin, but
Oh, right.
like you don't
kind of a red herring
a
distraction.
red herring. Yeah. Do we think that's a red herring? Because is that a smart move? You know, because she seems so badass, and she says she's been doing it for 2 years now, been a 00, so much so that the world has moved on with that. And I thought it was brilliant from the trailer. I never thought James Bond would be used in an uncool way where the security guy doesn't know who the hell you are of your own place. And you go, Bond. And he's like, yeah, James Bond. Oh, right, James Bond. Oh, yeah, go on in. Yeah.
And it's cool, too. I love that shot because I noticed it where he, just his eyes, he like looks up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, don't say it. Wait, say it. No, don't say it. Wait. And then he's James Bond. And I'm like, oh, and it's TSA basically.
It's like you're going back to visit your old college frat, to go to a party, and they're like, we don't know who you are, dude.
Right.
This is how James Bond should. I mean, look, James Bond has always been really good at cracking dad jokes, okay? He's always been really good. He's probably fathered hundreds of kids around the world now,
Yeah.
so it's
If any
about
of those-
time for him to...
If any of those women lived, yes, they fathered the kids.
Dark.
I'm just saying, they usually end up dead. All those Casino Royale.
I know.
She dies.
Yeah, it didn't work out well
Monica
for
Bellucci
Evergreen.
in Spectre dies.
Oh,
they
God.
seem to all die.
So you're saying James Bond is like the opposite Good Luck Chuck?
That's the reference.
You sleep with Bond is probably the last person you sleep with.
God, did you have to bring up Dane Cook?
I feel
Yeah.
like your jokes
Yes, I
are better
did.
without the jacket on.
You feel I haven't made one joke since I've been on this set.
That's
this
for
is
sure.
all serious.
That's for sure.
I feel like you think I'm trying to be funny
Oh, fair point. But
because
you're
I'm
being serious.
because I'm such a great comedic presence on programs.
Oh, it's crystal clear you're not trying to be funny.
Thank you, Grae.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you something, Greg.
It's not even 9:15 yet.
You're right.
All right. I don't
I've been
get
up for
funny
3 hours, guy.
until showtime around 7:30, 8 p.m.
That's true. So you're working your bits out here.
This is where I practice. This is where I spitball. All right. Well, you guys didn't like that one. What do you guys think about men and women? They are different. Am I right?
Women be shopping. Boop, 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 boop. I want to see them. What I'm interested to with Fukunaga and the mask. That's what helps me give it a little more leeway. Is Fukunaga did such a great job in that first season, True Detective, that I want to see if this is something deeper. Because something that Rami Malek's character says, you'll die physically, but my skills will go on. What does that mean? Is this
Right.
a cloning situation? Are we doing the
Yes.
clone? What are we getting into here that will go beyond what Spectre already was?
Yeah, that's a great point because that makes zero sense.
Yeah.
And I was like, does he just say crazy stuff? Did it later in the movie, does he say like, inflation rates will definitely go down as time goes on, right? Is he just like spouting a whole bunch of crazy stuff?
Well, from what I know, Rami Malek's character is a flat earther, so I think that would be the best plot of a Bond movie ever, where it's like, Bond, I'm going to flatten the earth. I think that him referencing that he can live on in some capacity, or that he may survive in some fashion, the events of this film harkens back to your point where we could be nominating a successor to James Bond by the end of this movie. I don't think it's necessary to do that, but I think it'd be interesting, and it's something that we've seen them try before in James Bond style movies, but I don't think we've ever pulled it off successfully.
Yeah.
So there's very little risk here because you can always reboot.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is that there seems to be a distinction between the approach to James Bond movies versus something like Marvel. This might be an unfair comparison, but clearly Marvel has a roadmap that extends very far into the future, right?
Yeah.
So they're able to give audiences some kind of really exciting thing in their movies. And I feel like James Bond is always super reactionary. Like, we don't get anything really cool in the movies that's hearkening to the next one.
Right.
It almost seems like they release the movie, they wait to see what everybody says, and then the broccolis like make some decision. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really put a lot of cool things that are going to pay off in other movies. And I don't know that we'll get that this time.
I think that's what was fascinating about the Spectre thing, because it was supposed to be from Casino Royale all the way to Spectre. It was supposed to have been a long game, but it seemed to stumble at the end throughout the film Spectre at trying to connect the dots.
Yeah.
You know. So
was that what they were doing?
yeah, they were because everyone was working for Spectre.
I saw Spectre in the theater. I remember so little about it. I remember there's a helicopter in Mexico City.
Right.
Yes,
there was
at the
a
beginning.
big table.
And then there was a cold weather with
Yes.
Batista involved.
Dave Bautista was in it.
Oh, right. Yeah. Lots of
Did not have a
nipples, yeah.
line, but was in
he
the
did not.
movie.
Well, sometimes
and
you
then
don't need
and then Christoph Waltz showed up, and I believe he played a Nazi.
Yeah, don't know if he played a Nazi. He had a German accent or Austrian accent.
I
I think.
believe he wanted a glass of milk.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. He had a white cat. Do you remember the white cat?
I think all that sounds perfectly correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't worry about Wikipedia, kids. I'm here.
Ellis. He also has a Markipedia. I like that. He also has a facial defect as well, carried over from Spectre because of the helicopter crash onto the bridge, which messed up his eye. Oh no, that was before he crashed on the bridge, but he had a messed up eye from a Bond trying to break him up or something, blow him up.
Man, what is happening to Bond villains? They used to have gold and try to get into Fort Knox. Now they're just crapping on bridges.
I'm sorry. Crash on the bridge. My throat's dead too, damn it. Anyway, we'll see what happens. April 8th, 2020 is when this thing is coming out. I'm personally looking forward to it because this has been my favorite Bond, Daniel Craig. I don't care what anybody says. I've enjoyed his kind of brutal approach to Bond, and I like that he is just a battering ram. And who doesn't love when they take you out of retirement to come back one more time, like John Wick? You know, I'm thinking I'm back. You know, that kind of stuff. People love it when heroes come back, or they have this kind of legend about them coming back to take care of business again.
He does have a really good balance of energy.
Yeah.
Because I know watching him, like, as a fan, like, I just love gazing into those blue eyes. And he works on that level, but he's also really badass.
Yeah.
So he's a really good mix. I think it's like, he walks out of the ocean. You love watching that. But also, he's killed some guys.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never walked out of the ocean and had water like drip off my abs, like what happens with James Bond. There's just like there's a thing there, and it's sunburned.
Yeah, Joe Bob, you
And
drink
it's
those
just-
beers, the water's not gonna drip off the abs.
Yeah, if you just imagine if TMZ photographed any of us getting out of the beach.
Oh, don't do it.
No
Yeah.
thanks.
They're like, Hugh Jackman's put some
thanks.
weight on. Wait until you see what I look like.
Yeah.
Getting out of the beach. You'd be like, oh, somebody just shoot that manatee.
Yeah.
Just put it out of its misery. Can we just be thankful Tom Cruise is not playing James Bond? Because Tom Cruise, if he was playing James Bond, he would be dead. You know Tom Cruise would have tried that motorcycle stunt at the end.
Of course he would have.
Oh, yeah. No, he would have jumped off the bridge without anything attached to his feet.
Yeah.
For sure.
Tom, stop doing your own stunts.
I'm still waiting for him to hang off the space shuttle in one of the Mission Impossible films. That's gotta happen while
Yeah.
Vin Diesel drives the car out of the shuttle in space. You know that's gonna happen. Anyway, all right, let's move on to our next story, and that's Disney and Fox working together on a new Planet of the Apes movie. I'm shocked to hear about this because I didn't know that they were going to bring it back under the banner, and I thought they'd wait a little bit longer. So this is kind of surprising that they're already putting this in motion. Wes Ball is going to take this over, of most recently Mouse Guard fame, when that got shuttered by Disney as well, when Fox had been developing that thing. But he also was instrumental in running that Maze Runner series, those 3 films that I don't know if it's a positive because they financially made less as they went along. So this is an interesting turn to hand this over to Wes Ball. Maybe Disney and Fox were impressed by what he'd done with Mouse Guard. Maybe they felt bad about taking Mouse Guard away from him, and handing him this project is kind of a way to kind of make it up to him, but also use his skills in a positive way. Ellis, what do you think about this?
Okay, so I heard there was a new Apes movie coming out, and I got very excited because Apes on horses was like the thing. That was the battle
Yeah.
cry. And then you had apes on tanks. Then you eventually had apes, I think, flying. I want to see, in the spirit of Baby Yoda, I'd like to see like baby apes and baby horses. I want everything to be babies in this
Everything
new.
to be
I want it all to be
babies.
little tiny babies that can still talk and do all the things.
Do you hear that, ladies? He wants everything to be babies.
It's that biological clock, tick, 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 especially dressed like this. If you're willing, I'm able. With Planet of the Apes, I was shocked as well because I thought it was such a great trilogy. Like anytime you start to get a debate, like the best trilogies of all time, you have your people throw whatever their Star Wars is or whatever else at, and then somebody's like, hey, how about Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
Or How to Train Your Dragon. And these are like trilogies. You're like, oh yeah, that's a trilogy. And it's a damn good one too. I loved every Planet of the Apes movie in this new iteration.
Yes.
And so now I'd like to know where we're going with it, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah. That's the question. Is this a reboot? Grae, is this a reboot? Is it a remake? Is it a reimagining? Or is this picking up where the last three left off? And because Caesar, obviously, spoiler alert, what happens to Caesar in that end of the third film? Do we go into a new era of the Planet of the Apes?
I hope that we're going into a new era, but the same storyline.
Yeah.
And the thing that makes me nervous about this is that the Matt Reeves Apes like really meant a lot to me. And like, the last one I was sobbing.
Yeah.
I just loved it. And it's all in the writing of these new ones.
Yeah.
And, but if you're missing Andy Serkis, and it's like, if they kill that orangutan, I'm out. I'm going to set this place
Maurice.
on fire.
Yeah, you can't kill Maurice.
No. And so, but I think that there's more of the story to be told. But as usual, as with everything, you need to do it in a really clever way with a great writer that understands why those movies are great. And Apes on Horses, totally awesome.
Yeah.
But it fit within the world of this really kind of complex narrative that was really relatable and amazing. And it's most of the time they rush these things through.
Yeah.
And they're like, just do it. Just put Apes on Horses again. It'll be great.
Yeah, usually they start with Apes on Horses. And they're like, all right, now we need a story. With this, you can tell like they had the story. And they're like, oh, by the way, this story, we can do the horse thing.
Yeah.
So here, I think you do continue it. And I would love to see what the future looks like where apes are totally there. Maybe there's no more humanity.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like I'd like to get past whatever the next post-apocalyptic wasteland series, and I want to get way far in the future with this and just see what we got, because we can have Andy Serkis play another ape.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic idea. You've totally nailed it, because then what we're doing is basically going back to the very first movie, Advanced Civilization, and like, what if Mark Wahlberg just wakes up?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh, no.
Just kidding.
What,
Just
no,
kidding.
I want to see. I want to see Abraham Lincoln.
Oh.
I want to see that version of the United States.
No,
I want to see what he was up to.
Well,
did he wear a suit?
Are we already
did
living
he wear
in
the
it?
hat?
Are we already living in it?
Hey.
No.
Hey.
I'm sorry. Anyway, my thing is, I don't want to see that. Hey, Caesar, how's your mother? I don't want to see any of that with Mark Wahlberg. But
No.
if you look at the original, great. The 2001 remake, terrible. This one, fantastic. Will this one work or not? I wonder about. Did either of you see the mouse guard footage that was released, the 9 minutes and stuff?
No, and to be perfectly honest, it just sounds like you put two random nouns together, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, look, I'm a huge Mouse Guard fan. I thought the movie was great. Nathan Lane is one of my favorite actors.
Oh, no, not
I
that.
think it
Not
was
that one. No.
maybe my favorite movie. Is that not?
No, it's not.
What's that one?
Are you trying to break your own record for obscure movie references? That one's called Mousetrap. It's
I
not.
believe it's called Mouse Hunt.
Is it Mouse Hunt?
Yeah. Put a verb
That
in
could come
there,
in handy.
Nownie.
That might come in handy
Somebody's
on
got to
Saturday.
get in shape.
I'm going to call you Nownie from now on.
But no, if you haven't seen the 9 minutes of footage that they dropped, West Ball dropped about Mouse Guard, it's incredible.
What is that?
It was basically it's based on a children's book,
Cool.
and it is like, in essence, it all deals with these mice that live in this world, and they deal with the good and the bad, and there's attack, all this kind of stuff that goes on, and them trying to create a life afterwards, and can they hold off the evil mice from the good mice? So it's all kind of like that.
Do
So that makes
cats
perfect-
factor in?
There are hats.
No, cats.
Oh, cats.
But I love your yes and spirit.
I try to be positive with Mark Ellis. I try to be positive with Mark Ellis.
Hey, we had no idea what mouse guard was, and we let you get away with it for a long
To be
time.
fair, I can't understand you in that accent. When you put that hat on.
I'm more of a guinea pig cage kind of guy.
When you explain that concept,
Yes.
it makes perfect sense that Disney Fox would be like, hey, the guy did a movie about like civil unrest with hairy things. So why don't we put him in charge of the other movie we could theoretically do?
More hair,
Yeah.
less traps.
Yeah, and let's add horses in again. Horses!
All right, I'm going
Apes
to give you
on
the quick
horses.
synopsis. Mouse Guard is set in a world of sentient mice who live in a medieval era paralleling the same age in human history.
Same life expectancy as normal mice.
We don't get to that yet.
Because
It might be in
why
the sentence
bother?
if you let me finish it.
Why bother setting up a civilization if you're only going to live like 8 months? Then just enjoy.
Yeah, but you
life.
don't know that your 8 months, like their 8 months might be your 20 years, right?
Oh.
Like a dog doesn't know it's living only 7 years every human year that goes on, right?
Or is that why he is so adorable and eats food and licks other dogs' butts?
Fair enough.
Yeah, Molly definitely knows that she's 84 and enjoys every ounce of her senior benefits.
I always wonder if a dog, every time they wake up during the day, has it been a day in their mind? Like when they wake up, have they gone to bed, woken up in the
Right. Are they that aware?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
To quote Pinto in Animal House, can I buy some pot from you?
With that get up, you should be selling me the pot.
All right, so what's the rest of Mouse Guard?
Though in their world there are no humans, its story revolves around a brotherhood of mice known as the Mouse Guard who have sworn an oath to serve their fellow civilian mice in times of need, including making safe passage for them through the wilderness and protecting them from predators, which could be cats.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
So there's
cool.
stuff there.
Right. So just like make the mice bigger and like give them
There
like
you go.
different ears.
Yeah.
And they're apes now.
So it makes me
Okay.
wonder if, because they did a whole CG, there's like CG of the mice and everything like that. Will the apes be CG or will they be like motion capture?
They have
or
to
whatever they use for.
mocap. They have to stay with the same
think so?
tech.
Okay.
And since the last movie, which was like a few years ago,
Yeah.
the technology is so improved
Right.
that they've got to stay with that. They have to top themselves visually because those movies were mind blowing and actually
Yeah.
still kind of hold up.
Oh, they
If
were
I-
stunning. Yeah, especially the last one.
Yes.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
That you know it's great technology where it holds up on your TV.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you go see things in a theater and just blown away by everything, and then you go watch Peter Jackson's King Kong on your TV, and you're like, this is a cute video game. But like with those. It feels like there's actually like just like apes hanging out, like riding horses and tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my question with this is, because it's a 20th Century Fox property, the fear is that is this Disney just looking at everything that 20th Century Fox brought to them in this merger, and they're like, okay, we got to wait a few years on Predator. We got to wait. We don't know if we can do Alien if there's a script ready. Apes. We can make some money with Planet of the Apes. So are they just doing this for the sake of money? But I would hope that they have a cool story in place that they want to tell.
Yeah.
Well, that's what was going to be my next question. Are you surprised that this is the first IP from Fox that Disney is taking over and going and running with?
It's probably the least tied up.
Yeah.
So
it's
it's-
a convenient choice.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's like, we can actually move the needle on this faster.
Yeah.
So we should give this priority. It seems to make sense. It'd be so sad if they ruined it
Do you
because they
think
really
them
had a
getting
good
the
thing.
live action stuff correct in Lion King? Not fully correct, but close enough. Do you think that inspires them to do the apes thing as well? Do you think they'll go that route?
I'm just stuck now thinking about the Lion King, which depressed me because I thought the animals were so expressionless.
So that could be an issue.
I
Okay.
fundamentally disagree with you. Actually, I don't think they nailed it with Lion King.
Okay.
I actually think that Jungle Book was
Yes.
a far more successful CG outing.
I think Grae's being very unfair, okay? I don't tell my animals to smile, all right? I tell my animals to feel what they want to feel at that time. And everybody in The Lion King took their mission very seriously. We're
they did.
becoming a king here, Grae.
Look who just subverted our expectations in his jean jacket. He's so progressive all of a sudden.
I think we can all admit the best part of the new Lion King was the extended turd scene.
Oh, yeah.
What? Who pitches that? And they're like, hey guys, in the middle of this movie, we're gonna watch the biology of eating something and getting some lion fur in there, and then pooping it out, and then that's gonna be the circle of life.
Hey, man.
It moves us all.
It does.
It's some faster than others.
Some more times than once a day. This is what we'll see what happens as it goes forward. I'm curious to see because look, Andy Serkis can't be the only dude who can do mocap for God's sakes. There's got to be other people out there who want a shot at this.
Toby Kebbell can do it.
Toby Kebbell. Yeah. Okay.
What?
Toby doesn't have the best record in terms of success for films that he's in, so I would be hesitant to put Toby in this film.
But I mean, it's not his fault.
He's a good actor.
Nobody's opening this movie other than hey kids, there's Apes, come see the movie.
Yeah, fair.
It doesn't matter who's. It'd be nice to have some vocal talent,
right? Because he was in the Apes movies, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm talking about someone new though, someone new coming in who wants to break into the mocap and been like sitting behind Andy Serkis, going, "If I could just get my opportunity, maybe there's someone out there."
There definitely is because
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really peg Zoe Saldana as somebody that could do mocap, but then there she is, and we're like, "Oh, cool!" And then later, as a reward, we turned her green. Yeah. We were like, now you can be all colors of the rainbow. You have earned that right, madam.
What if Tom Hardy was our new Caesar? Would that work? No? Too big?
That's really fascinating, and I'm mulling it over because initially my response is that he is he's not as physical a person, but then I think back to Bronson and I'm like, no, he really is.
Right.
I think anybody has the ability to train to do that kind of thing, but certainly someone like Andy Serkis was kind of born to pioneer this whole industry. He's really amazing. And certainly that kind of talent, it might be challenging to find, but there's definitely someone out there.
Have either of you two done, sorry, go ahead. What?
Have we done what?
Have either
met real apes?
Done mocap?
You bet I have every Friday night, my love. Yeah.
No, I don't get that. I don't get that kinky. I'm happy just being there.
I told you it's going to be a rodeo. If
I just show up and there's a party, I mean, look, I clearly know how to bring the party. This jean jacket is mocap. I'm not even here. Frank is deep faking me into this episode of Movie Talk.
Of course he is.
I'm
Frank
asleep
Licardo.
like a baby.
But to answer your question, yes, I did do mocap at Weta, and it was amazing.
Nice. See? Yeah. I want to get a chance to do that someday. I'd love to.
Will.
I was trying to do it professionally when I was doing voiceovers, but it's tough to bust into the mocap side of things. It really is.
It's just Andy. It's just Andy sitting on a throne like Snoke.
And Doug Jones.
And Doug Jones.
Those guys.
Yeah. Right. So. Doug's nicer, though. No, I'm just joking. Andy's great. I love him.
Doug's nicer than everyone.
Yeah, Doug is the sweetest person. He kissed my hand on the red carpet. Really? And I was like, oh, my God. I should be kissing your hand, guy.
Wow.
He gives the best hugs in Hollywood, and he folds you into those big spider arms. And he just embraces you, and then you know you've made it.
If you wonder why you feel under the weather every winter, maybe you're just letting strange dudes kiss your hand, maybe buckle that up a little bit.
Little fishman.
Yeah, you're letting a fish guy make out with your hand. He's trying to bite you, John.
All right.
Oh, look
who's a fish guy.
Now
look
who's
who's
not
prejudiced now.
Yeah, who's prejudiced now.
I don't want a fish guy dating my daughter. Honey, you stop having sex with that fish in the tub right now.
Right now. All right, let's move on to some promos before we lose control of this entire show.
This is the best episode of Movie Talk that I've ever been associated with.
This is the one we're submitting to the Emmys. That's for damn sure.
So to the one viewer we have left, we salute you.
I don't want no fish viewers watching this episode. You stay in the water where you belong.
You stay in that goddamn water. Anyway, let's move on to some promos. Speaking of fishmen, there are fishmen in Marvel and DC. Let's see what someone has to say about Heroes. Let's take a look at that now.
Hi, I'm Amy Dallin, one of the hosts of Collider Heroes, and starting right now, you can catch our show Tuesday nights with a new Collider Heroes and a longer Collider Heroes podcast, where Coy and I are gonna talk your ears off. You already know that's coming. So make sure to go to YouTube, subscribe, and find us on the Collider Heroes podcast feed for all of that sweaty goodness.
I mean, I can still feel his scales on me.
Okay.
And so that's why I just always had a predisposition to hate fit.
Yeah, this has been going on the whole time.
Your mic is on.
Oh my God.
It's hot.
That was the lovely Amy Dallin talking about Heroes, a show I'm very happy to produce here at Collider. It's dropped yesterday at 5 o'clock. Go take a look at it now on YouTube. Enjoy their conversation. Dorian Parks joined them as well. And hey, FYC screened The Joker last night. Jeff Snyder, always averse to dressing up for a situation, didn't wear socks to hold the interview with the production designer of the film, or director of photography for the film, Lauren Shure. But hey, just in case you want to do another screening, I'm sure Perry or Scott Mance will be wearing socks in this one. That's Saturday, The Rocket Man at ArcLight, Saturday, December 7th at 7 p.m., part of the FYC screening series. You got the Q&A with Taron Egerton, Jamie Bell, and Dexter Fletcher. I love Dexter Fletcher. He's a good actor, and now he's become becoming a fantastic director. I will defend Rocket Man over Bohemian Rhapsody to the end of time.
Wow.
So go see it Saturday at 7 p.m. there. Get your tickets at the ArcLight here in L.A. and Hollywood. So cool.
It's a good matchup.
What's that?
Rocket Man versus Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, the winner, that you're basically playing for the right to lose to Eddie and the Cruisers Part 2. Eddie lives.
What? No. How much deeper are you going to go with these references?
Yeah, that's basically like the mouse guard of music jokes.
Everybody thought he was dead in the first one. He ain't. He's back, and he's dressed like me.
As soon as he looked at himself and saw himself on the TV, you're like, oh no, Eddie's alive.
That's Eddie.
Oh, that's Eddie with the beard. Poor Michael Paré. Isn't that Michael Paré? Is that who it was?
It was played by Michael Paré.
Yeah.
Has Billie Eilish heard of Eddie and the Cruisers? That's the big question.
Oh, a good call. You're making the Van Halen shot.
I
Nice.
didn't take any shots.
5 seconds. Top favorite musical biopic. What can you say?
Whoa.
5 seconds.
Does Walk
Hard.
Hard count?
What?
How do I know when it's love?
Incredible. Walk Hard, both of them. I can't answer. Walk the Line. I'll give it a little bit more. All right.
I want to kiss you on the mouth right now.
If you're talking straight music documentaries, then I would say The History of the Eagles is great.
That is awesome.
I also love It Might Get Loud, which is Jimmy Page, Jack White, and The Edge from U2, all just sitting around jamming guitars, having a conversation.
Yep.
And music docs, Bogdanovich did that Tom Petty music doc.
Yes.
And it's one of his song lyrics. It's so great.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
But that's not your question at all. But you know what?
I like
Go
it.
to hell.
Yeah.
All right,
you know
there
what,
we go.
Grae? You wrecked me, baby.
Yeah.
Oh boy! All right. Well, speaking of films that could win Best Picture, I don't know. We weren't at all, but like maybe the National Board of Review named The Irishman their Best Picture. This on the heels of the Gotham Awards naming Marriage Story their Best Picture. So Netflix is starting to build a little bit of steam here towards as we enter in the awards season, moving towards the Oscars, the Golden Globes, what have you. This is very interesting. The Irishman.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Grae.
Netflix is going so hard at these awards.
They're walking hard. Yep.
They sure are. And it's interesting because when you're a member of like the what is this word? Oh,
Yeah.
Pesci, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, God, who is that old guy I'm looking at? Sorry, Joe. Love you. You were amazing in this movie.
We don't have that red carpet de-age technology just right. Eventually, you'll be able to do the movie young and then walk the red carpet and just be young again. But the infrared sensors, they're not quite there yet.
So during the award season, you get a whole bunch of screeners, you get a whole bunch of books, you get a whole bunch of things, and they're like, vote for me. Every day there's something from Netflix. They've got so many movies in this conversation. And in a year where Scorsese has a movie and Tarantino has a movie, everybody else goes, damn it. Couldn't we have just waited another year to win anything? Because I think they're going to take a lot.
It's like Annette Bening when she gets nominated opposite Hillary Swank. Damn it! This year again! Son of a gun!
And what's interesting about this is that if you have Netflix making this big of a push, this is Netflix leaning into the fact that, hey, we may not be able to out-blockbuster other streaming services like Disney+, but if we make quality cinema and we start to get into those award show conversations, that's going to keep our subscriber base high. Because you could also throw My Name is Dolomite into any consideration for a Best Picture, Best Lead Actor, Best Ensemble Cast kind of thing. So The Irishman, I don't think it's the best movie that I saw this year, but it is damn good. And I think it is a contender for the top awards. And if the National Board of Review is kind of that really early predictor as far as which way the tea leaves may be pointing, The Irishman's a good bet.
Statistically, I think that stuff is kind of going by the wayside as far as predictors, because it's like whoever wins the Directors Guild Award, statistically that used to predict what was going to win Best Picture, but the race is so all over the place at this point. It's impossible to predict the nominees. And so it's like, The Irishman is great. Marriage Story is great. You know what else is great? Booksmart. I don't know.
Well,
and
also,
you know what else happens? There's so many more backlashes back and forth now because as soon as you have one award show or one body gives all the praise to one movie, that's when everybody else is like, oh, but that movie had this, it didn't have this, and it had that. So then then it bounces out and of course corrects for the next award show. So it's just kind of like this pinball game that you really have to keep track of.
I think you could have done it in the past as a predictor. It could have served as a predictor for what's to come because the voting bodies stayed the same. Across all the boards. The fact that voting bodies are now changing and are ever changing every year as they become more diverse, younger, allow more voices to be in the room, it becomes you're becoming less able to predict what is going to win based on something that won 3 weeks ago.
It's so much more interesting.
Yes, agreed.
And it's exactly the way that it should be, because there were a lot of good movies that came out. And it's in a year when we're not just talking about Joker. You know what I mean? Like that means it's a good year, because that movie kind of was mind blowing. But then you're like, well, right. But then there's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There's the Two Popes for anybody. Like, amen.
Right? It goes far back as something like The Farewell, which and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like those weren't released during when you would consider the Oscar bait coming out. I mean, even something like Parasite. So there's a lot of movies that you can take from pretty much all year round. I just think people invest more in it now than maybe happened 15, 20 years ago. And like you said, the voting bodies have changed for the better. It's a lot more progressive with who we include into these voting bodies. So it's really open season. And so I think that part of that lends itself to just a voter looking at something like Netflix and not having some sort of like, oh, gee, we got to give them one. Right. Now it's like, you're going to vote for a lot of Netflix movies, and I guess we got to let the theaters have 1 or 2 movies in the conversation as well.
Yeah. Well, look, the National Board of Review is made up of filmmakers, critics, academics, and more. The organization facilitates screenings, discussions, hands out grants to emerging filmmakers, and helps catapult films into a more publicized consciousness. So that's a positive overall for what this august body does, for lack of a better adjective. What's interesting too, and I want to throw this out to you all, Uncut Gems got some love.
Yay!
It earned Best Screenplay and Best Actor.
That's so good.
Best Actor, for the love of God, Adam Sandler. God help us all. I haven't seen this yet. Have you two seen this?
Oh, God.
Is it really? It's on my screening pile to finish up this weekend.
What an unbelievable movie.
Okay.
An incredible performance. I don't know about giving it a screenplay award. I think that for me, it's like an adapted screenplay would be Jojo Rabbit that I'd be more interested in seeing get some love.
Right.
But Sandler, he's so... just the energy coming off this guy, like somehow he was born to play this character, and it's so memorable that the male actor race this year is super hard.
It's interesting.
Just for a moment, consider that the other night Sandler lost to Driver for Marriage Story, but the real tragedy of that situation is they both have the same first name.
Oh,
so they are like,
The winner is Adam.
It's just the moment that lasts a lifetime.
Well, it's going to last multiple lifetimes. If Adam Sandler gets nominated for an Oscar, it could possibly win it, because he has the one arrow in his quiver that nobody else has, which is what he said on Howard Stern the other day. I'll make the worst movie you've ever seen if I don't get this Oscar. So.
I thought he already did it with Grown Ups too, but no, I guess there's a worse
Jack
one.
And Jill, I would put up.
Jack and Jill.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what he does, and I kind of love him for that. I yelled out loud in my car. All of a sudden, the whole universe just made sense. I was like, this is what he does. Oh my God, I can stop wondering.
We now have solved the riddle, the 30-year riddle of who Adam Sandler is, that adorable little chum who brings his guitar out on Weekend Update, could win an Oscar in 2019.
And a part of me wanted to go back to, like, what was it, around the 2002 voters or 2003, and be like, you didn't give him that award for Punch Drunk Love.
Yep.
You did this.
Look at these movies. Yo!
Awesome.
That one and Reign Over Me are two of his incredible performances as an actor. Just like Jim Carrey with Eternal Sunshine. I thought he should have been nominated.
Who got robbed?
He got
robbed.
totally
Man on the Moon.
Yeah, Man on the Moon, another one. Yeah,
got robbed.
Take it easy on that.
Eddie Murphy gets robbed for everything.
Everything.
The Nutty Professor. How does he not win?
Well, how does Alan Arkin win for playing Alan Arkin in Little Miss Sunshine? There was nothing he did in that movie that was different than he hadn't done in 35 other movies. Eddie was incredible in Dreamgirls. Incredible in Dreamgirls.
There's the most depressing part of the awards race, in my opinion, is that once you're on the inside of it, you can see why things win awards and other things don't.
Fascinating.
It is, first of all, a matter of money. The studios are willing to invest a ton of money sending people places to see the movies, and they send them to fancy parties and they give them gifts. But also, it's up to the star to campaign like they're running for president to win an award. So it's like, yeah, you know, some people are willing to do it and some people aren't. And so the Critics' Choice Association gave Eddie Murphy an honor for Dolomite Is My Name, which he 100% deserves. He leveled the joint in 2 minutes with a speech that was, I'll never forget seeing in person. But then he wasn't at the party afterwards. And it's because Eddie Murphy, I think, if I had to guess, I don't know him, but I feel like he's been famous for so long that is there a certain dynamic between people that aren't famous and him that could be exhausting?
I think he just wants to go home and hang out with his family because Eddie Murphy is that rare celebrity, and I'll just speak to stand-up comics, where he's the one that could walk into the Comedy Store when I'm there tonight, and if he walks in, it's like, and not just me, everybody else stops what they're doing. So it's not like we're watching a famous colleague come in.
Right.
You know, it's not even like, because you can hear guys like Chappelle and Chris Rock when they're in the presence of Eddie Murphy. They are like, oh my God, that's Eddie Murphy. So I think sometimes in Eddie Murphy's case, it's better to just win your award or put your time in and then leave and don't do all the networking, because part of the reason why he didn't win for Dreamgirls is also every corner of Hollywood that year had a billboard for Norbit.
And Burt Reynolds not winning for Boogie Nights was him bashing the awards before people voted. And so those things, you're right, they factor in. Critics take it personally. It's kind of the game. They're human beings. This is all part of the game, unfortunately.
It's a popularity contest. And sometimes people that did the best performance actually win the award, but they also put the time in. And so Sandler is facing the same kind of problem for the same kind of reasons you just mentioned, where both of these guys are turning in amazing performances. But I think Eddie Murphy's feelings were hurt for not winning for Dreamgirls. But again, it's like a full-time job, kissing everybody's butt. And it's gross. And I'm proud to be a part of it.
Well, in stand-up comics, there's nothing they hate worse than kissing people's butts. So I from my limited experience in knowing stand-up comics, and
in being one, and in performing, I've seen it. It was good.
Unfortunately,
it was really good. There were some evil mice in the crowd. We had to get rid of. They were eating all that cats. Cheese.
You speak about, we got to wrap it up here, but you speak about being all over the place. Here's the deal real quick for the National Board Review. Best film, Irishman. Best director was Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time. Best actor, Adam Sandler said. Best actress, Renee Zellweger, who a lot of people think is going to happen. Best supporting actor, Brad Pitt, I love.
Yay!
Best supporting actress, Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell, which was fantastic.
Wow!
Original screenplays were said Uncut Gems. Adapted was Irishman. Breakthrough performance, Paul Walter Hauser in Richard Jewell, which is incredible. Melina Matsoukas got Best Directorial Debut for Queen and Slim.
Wow, cool.
Best Animated Feature was How to Train Your Dragon. Best Foreign Language Film was Parasite. Best Ensemble, Knives Out. And Best Documentary, Maiden, which I have no idea what Maiden is.
Wow.
So, and I've been interviewing a lot of documentary filmmakers for The Deep Cut, and I have yet to come across Maiden, so that's something that's in my head. Outstanding Achievement Cinematography, Roger Deakins, 1970.
Yes.
So, deserves it.
I did not realize that Irishman was an adaptation. Whoops.
Yeah,
and so nothing will ever win against it.
So these fellas paint houses, right? But not like you and me would. They paint them with a head blood.
Right. Ours is a lot sexier. It's other kinds of blood.
How many people do you have to shoot in a room to get that thing painted? You know, you're gonna get 20 people in a room and just whack it, just boom, boom, boom. Yeah. All right, it's just not this isn't the color it was on the swab.
I didn't know you were going to Jackson Pollock with it, but all right, that's fine.
Too red.
It's nouveau.
It's nouveau. All right, so answer some live chat questions real quick before we wrap up. Fillmore Pockets wants to know which spy franchise had the better run over the last 3 movies, Mission Impossible or Bond?
Oh, which had the best what?
Run over the last 3 movies.
Mission Impossible.
Okay.
I mean, technically Gerard Butler isn't a spy in the Angel Has Fallen series, so I understand the question.
Agreed.
I think Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Just because it did, partially because what Tom Cruise and his nutcase mentality will do for a stunt for a movie, but I just felt more passion.
Yeah.
Like everybody involved in these Mission Impossible movies wants these to be good. And Bond, Skyfall's really cool. Quantum of Solace and Spectre, it's like, this show put on the tux.
When you compare the two, it makes me feel a little bit like Bond is sort of coasting on its laurels and it has this amazing cinematic history, whereas Mission Impossible is like comparatively the scrappy underdog.
Yeah.
And is like, man, we got to really entertain these guys. I'm going to hang off a jet.
You're not so tough, Mr. Bond. You'll see.
Jars over here. There are drones. There are drones coming for the president. All right, next, Matt Stoker asks, most anticipated film of 2020. For Mark Ellis, how excited are you for Coming to America 2?
Oh, Coming to America 2 is way at the top of my list. I will still include Godzilla and Kong squaring off in my most anticipated, even though I'm going to have to wait.
2022.
Going to have to anticipate it a lot longer than I wanted to, but it's still going to be there. So those would be two way up high ones for me. And then obviously, I don't know how many parts it is, but the documentary series that ESPN is doing on the 90 Chicago Bulls, that is the must-see TV of 2020.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right, Grae?
Absolutely. Scottie Pippen was at my wedding.
Oh!
He wasn't.
Okay.
That's a 30 Rock line.
That's a good friend. Oh, my bad. What are we, farmers, Liz? That's my favorite line. You wear a tuxedo at 6 o'clock. What are we, farmers, Liz? Yeah.
Coming to America 2 is coming to America.
Boom.
Right?
See what you did there.
God, it's going to be awesome.
All right, Jay Scott Ferreira wants to know, who's your favorite holiday curmudgeon from the big screen? Scrooge, the Grinch? Is it telling that Jim Carrey has portrayed both?
I love and not a lot of people talk about Jim Carrey as Ebenezer Scrooge and the Robert Zemeckis, and I thought Jim Carrey was a revelation in that movie.
It was.
I go Scrooge is slightly over the Grinch, just slightly, and my favorite Scrooge is George C. Scott from 1984's A Christmas Carol.
That's the non-musical one.
That is the non-musical one, but it does feature a stirring performance by comic force Roger Reese is in that.
Yes.
And Lucy Goodrich, you can also find in 1984's Top Secret.
Oh, boy.
Well, once again, Ellis, you are incorrect. The best Scrooge is Bill Murray in the film Scrooge.
That's
Fair.
I'll give you.
You can't argue that. I think that's a great point.
Start arguing that, Carol Kane will start punching you.
Yeah, exactly.
I give a little shout out every year to Henry Winkler in the American Christmas Carol, the ABC TV movie from the late 80s, which I liked. I love Henry Winkler. All right.
Is that on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Can I catch that?
I am going to go look for it today. Oh, my God. If it's on there, I'm totally watching it. Thelonious.
This is what Disney Plus has done to adults.
Everyone.
You know? Oh, my God, I can't go to work. Chip in those rescue rangers. I got to binge it. But you still have a job.
It's no lie. For the first time last night, I switched over from Netflix to go, what's on Disney Plus? And I hadn't done that ever.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh, wow. Okay.
It's all
happening.
beginning. Yeah.
I'm being converted. Thelonious asks, what do you think of Robert De Niro coming to Anna Paquin's defense in The Irishman? A bit of a tender issue with her, the lines. Anything you want to say about this?
Why does she need defending?
People were complaining that she only has like 3 lines in the movie, and it's a symptom of Scorsese and how he treats the female characters. I don't know. I suppose I'm biased because I love Scorsese. I love his movies. I didn't mind it. I thought she was a very towering presence throughout the movie without having to speak. And when she did speak, it was pretty powerful.
I actually agree with that, and I understand that it's problematic to not have anyone different in your films, because Scorsese largely is just like white dudes, you know, but he chose to tell a story yet again about just these 3 guys.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think that Anna Paquin personally got shortchanged at all, because I felt her in the movie and I thought she was so great, as always.
Yeah.
I didn't personally have a problem with it, and since I speak for all women, we're good.
Well, I speak for all Southern gentlemen.
There you go.
I think that it was the story that Scorsese was telling, and there was a subtle difference in the way that women are portrayed from the era that were married to these gangsters versus Anna Paquin's generation, because by the end of the film, you do see that there are changes in how they behave. It's not just, pull over the car, I want to smoke. Now we're treating these opinions, we're treating these people differently than we looked at them 30 years ago. Now, having said all that, the big issue with this is just don't trust whatever the headline is and read the actual quotes. Because I saw on Twitter yesterday that it was made to look like De Niro was okay with the fact that Anna Paquin wasn't allowed to speak on set. And now today it's like, oh, well, no, he was actually defending her. So just go read the actual quotes.
Ew, reading.
Yeah. From the guy that dressed shockingly.
You can read, like, if you emoji it, you can still figure out what's going on.
Right.
But there you go. All right, let's wrap up. This is another live episode of Collider Movie Talk. This is my last time hosting this week. Barry is back tomorrow to handle it for Thursday and Friday and continuing forward. Thank you, everyone, for the kind words. I've seen some nice comments on YouTube. Very much. Thank you very much. It's always fun to sit in for Perry, but she is the host of this show. It's always great to sit in, though, to get a shot to do it, and especially when you're sitting alongside 2 incredible people like I am today. Grae Drake, where can people find you? Everything you're doing?
I am all over social, and my name is Grae Drake. It's AE, no Y's. My family finds him untrustworthy.
Grae Drake, and I've said this before, is the coolest, most badass Viking name I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, I could see Grae just like at the top, like at the forefront of one of those North ships.
Yeah,
you know, like George Washington crossing the Delaware. It's just Grae Drake, but she's got like she's got a film reel in one hand.
Yeah, somebody get me some Dramamine.
And Mark Ellis, what do you got going on?
Not a whole lot, John. Things are pretty tough these days. I was hoping you'd just skip me and say good. I mean, look, the special.
He can't even be a dog father.
Out.
He's just a dog stepfather.
No, that was
your own dog.
My ride off into the sunset. I'm leaving the sport of stand up. I'm leaving all this broadcasting. I was in Florida for Thanksgiving, and I think that's really the way to live.
Yeah.
Mini golf courses.
Celebrate good time. Come on.
Dun, 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 dun. We got the Schmodown Spectacular this Saturday. You can get tickets at my site, markellislive.net, or at theschmodownlive.com. I'm going to be at the Comedy Store this Friday, and I'm going to be in New York City in January. And then we have a lot of Star Wars coverage that I'm sure y'all are doing, that I get to do. There's a new Star Wars movie coming out, y'all.
Oh.
Yeah, the Skywalker guy. Guess who's back?
That's right. He's rising up, according to the title.
He is risen. He will come again.
If they roll a rock out and Luke's in there, I don't know. Anyway, all right, there you go. Thanks, everybody, for watching this live episode of Collider Movie
These are
Talk.
my hands. This one was a robot hand, but still, you get it.
Yeah, hands.
You get it. Don't forget, Collider Live is coming up in about 5 minutes. The gang and the crew there going to have a good time. It was great sitting in with them yesterday. I'm sure they've got another great show planned for you all to enjoy, so go and do that. And we will talk to you tomorrow with another live episode of Collider Movie Talk at 9 a.m. PT. Take care until then.